up, wrestling fans? It is Monday, March 24th. We just finished watching Monday Night Raw, and it is time for us to gather together, as we always do, following the show here on Mega Powers Radio for the MPR Raw post-show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only live post-Raw experience where we invite you, the listeners, to join in the conversation. We will have phone lines open. We have the chat room going. But first off, we like to start with our panel of hosts that we have here. Introducing myself first, I'll be the host of this evening's festivities, station director here at Mega Powers Radio. My name is Mike Payton. Joining me, first off, I have from across the pond in the wonderful nation of Wales, Mr. Sean Walker. What's shaking, Sean?
I should have carried on watching Pokemon on Netflix.
Well, another man who's a big fan of Pokemon. In fact, I believe we have a special edition of Addicted to Anime about Pokemon coming up here on Mega Powers Radio, but he'll tell you more about that later. The host of that show, Mr. Steven Juego. What's shaking, Steven?
I'm kind of want to die after that episode of Raw.
Oh, my goodness. We got to pick this up a little bit. Also with us here, he was here last week. I said it was special. Well, you know what? He decided to keep it going special. Well, I guess it's not special if he comes again, but whatever. He's here again. Mr. Miguel Leon. What's shaking, Miguel?
I was feeling about on the same level as Wago until you played that SpongeBob bit. That actually pepped me up for tonight. Gotta appreciate that.
Excellent. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, the leader of Smark Out Moment and the Smack Talk podcast on that network, Mr. Tony Mango. What's shaking, Tony?
Not too much. I'm not as down as everybody else seems to be, but I'm not really going to be the champion of this episode either. So.
Goodness gracious. Well, as I said, we certainly invite you all to give your opinions. We have the chat room open for you to talk in there. We'll have the phone lines opening up momentarily. If you would like to get yourself in line, go ahead and dial in area code 760-512-7247. We have another phone line. I can never freaking remember what the number is. I should really learn it and get it to memory. But if you see it on the broadcast page, it's okay to call it. It will get you in. And, of course, you could also use Twitter using the hashtag #RawPostShow. Lots of ways to get your opinions out there. But first, let me ask all you guys what the number one thing you came away after watching tonight Raw was. Just to get our general opinions about tonight's show. We got a little bit of your guys' feelings, but what the number one thing you walked away from tonight was. Tony, why don't you start us off?
Nobody knows how to pronounce Joe Manganiello's name. Even myself, apparently.
Yeah, neither did you, apparently.
Yeah. That's the number one thing I came across with.
Okay. Miguel, how about you?
I said it before the show started. I've never seen a Raw that felt incredibly long, but yet incredibly rushed at the same time.
Wow, it's a good observation of that. Sean, what about you, man?
Jerry the King Lawler's commentary didn't bother me as much as it did the other previous weeks. That's it. That's all I can bring away from this episode.
I'll tell you what, man. Last night I watched it.
You watched it?
I watched Fully Loaded 1998. And Jerry Lawler was just so on point at that time period. That was the pay-per-view where Sunny debuted her special edition bikini. If you are watching at the time, you know very much what I'm talking about. Jerry Lawler was just so excellent at that time period. Steven, what's the number one thing you came away from Raw tonight?
The Shield and Cesaro are fucking awesome.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. I overall am pretty down about tonight's run. I know I'm usually the person who tries to be positive and keep things going in that direction, but tonight, man, it just does not feel like it's 2 weeks before WrestleMania for the most part. And you know, I'm gonna contradict myself a little bit. I think the only positive thing I can say about tonight's Raw is that we did get a little bit of build for WrestleMania. We saw a few matches made, if not at least developed a little bit more. I think Triple H got me totally invested in his spot going into the WrestleMania setup. So there was development for that, but man, almost every single match on tonight's show was just garbage.
It felt, like I said, it felt rushed. I noticed that the moment I started to pick up on the fact that every intro was seemingly cut off. Every matchup, aside from the last matchup with the Shield, went maybe 5 minutes at best. I mean, it was a meandering show. Aside from the non-wrestling bits, the whole show just kind of just blah. It didn't really go anywhere action-wise.
So since I don't even know if there's really one big segment, maybe the final one, but we'll save the best for last. Why the hell not? Let's start right from the beginning. Stephanie McMahon greeted us at the start of the show and decided to tell the Brooklyn crowd, which New York is always one of the absolute best crowds you can do a wrestling show at. They always just give their absolute all. They're always wild. They're always chanting for almost anything you put out there. But one thing that you're going to do to hurt them and make them die down a lot is to tell them that their hero is not going to be there. And that's what she did. Stephanie McMahon told us that Daniel Bryan is not medically cleared to compete that evening. So he's not even in the building, unfortunately. But instead, she says, hey, here's Orton and Batista. Well, it's not what she said, but that's how we ended up having the whole situation go. Orton came out saying that he asks for Triple H to walk away from the title match at Mania. Batista comes out too. I wasn't even paying attention to what he said. I guess he said something along the lines of, to Randy Orton, he goes, why don't you stop drooling on Stephanie? Because I'm sure Stephanie's used to people drooling on her. In fact, I'm sure lots of people have drooled on her, which prompted Stephanie to slap Batista. What? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? I'm sure lots of people have drooled on you. What does that mean?
I don't know, but was this before or after the microphone issue that they had?
After.
Oh, this was after that, so the mic incident happened before that.
Was it?
Because I think that's worth pointing out.
What was that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I believe there was one where like Batista's mic went out, and so he had to use another microphone. That correct me if I'm wrong. I might have missed something, but I think his microphone when he was trying to talk wasn't working, so he had to kind of pick another one up. And I think Stephanie had made the comment like, "I'm sorry, you were babbling about something. Go on, continue." Like he had said something, but I just remember seeing Orton turning away from the camera, trying not to laugh, and just laughing hysterically on that. I love moments like that, man. He just went full Mean Gene on that botch.
Maybe this was a tie-in with Scooby-Doo, and she's been getting drooled on by him.
I was just trying to... Is it like people are sucking up to Stephanie? Is it like a Triple H caveman joke? Is it like while he's having sex with her, is he just drooling?
Maybe they were trying to say like she's hot, so people are drooling all over her, and that's somehow like a bad thing or something. I don't know why that would necessarily be anything to do with the Randy Orton and Batista feud, but then again, they've clearly shown that they don't care about that feud whatsoever. They're not putting any effort into it. So these two guys come out, and each and every week, they've really accomplished nothing. They pretty much just kind of go, you're the champion, and I want to be? Oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to beat up Daniel Bryan. Like, they don't ever really do anything. And apparently, since Daniel Bryan couldn't be out this week, they decided to make it revolve around Stephanie, and they had nothing to say about Stephanie. Sucked.
The only part of that whole segment, besides the botch, that really pepped me up for the rest of the night was the pants that Stephanie was wearing. God, she needs to wear leather pants more often.
I thought you were
I'm the only one that agrees with that. What?
I think Stephanie looks fine just about anything she wears. So I mean, you're not going to get any disagreements from me.
Fair enough.
Look at you two drooling all over her. Come on.
Of course, man.
was right about you people.
Yeah.
Way to prove this segment right.
I think the biggest thing that we had to take away from this is that Batista showed the biggest thing that he's lacking.
Come closer. I need.
What do you need?
A tailor. Because I rip our pants! Ah!
Yeah, and you might have missed it, but Batista, after his little bit of being slapped by Stephanie, and he did a spear or whatever move, he did a spine buster onto Randy Orton, ripped his pants, his skinny jeans, ripped right down the backside of him. Hilarious and so appropriate after all the jokes that people have been making about him and his damn skinny jeans he's been wearing lately, that they finally give on him and they rip.
You know, in the case of Batista, though, at least it wasn't a muscle.
So, yeah, I got a new sound that's going to remain here permanently, and whenever we talk about Batista, I'm going to go ahead and remind him.
Because I rip our pants!
So, after that bit that we had in the beginning, we had what I think was quite possibly the match of the night, a #1 contendership for the Intercontinental title. Alberto Del Rio versus Sheamus versus Christian versus Dolph Ziggler. This match was freaking phenomenal. Slow start, but you know what? That's how you make a good match. You start slow and you build up and make it more awesome towards the end. Dolph Ziggler looked like an absolute star. The Brooklyn crowd was phenomenally behind him. Big E was outside sitting, watching at ringside, and he was worrying for if Dolph Ziggler was going to win this match. Like, oh my gosh, if Dolph Ziggler wins, what the heck am I going to do? And also Big E, by the way, looked a little less shiny tonight. I almost wonder if there was some kind of rule in effect that might have made him cause him to look like that.
No, Orton shit on him.
But surprisingly, Dolph Ziggler did not win this match. Christian ended up walking away with the victory in the #1 contendership for the Intercontinental title, which initially I thought was for WrestleMania, but it turns out it's for tomorrow night on Main Event. So who the hell cares?
That's probably why Christian won.
Yeah. Well, get your guys' opinions about the match and this whole situation. Sean, why don't you start us off, bro?
Wait, what? The match itself was good. I'm glad that Del Rio and Sheamus are now mid-card contenders for the mid-card titles. About fucking time after the year and a half of them competing for the World Heavyweight Championship. But yeah, the match itself was solid. I wanted Dolph to win. Shame about the outcome. Nobody's going to tune in for Main Event.
Miguel?
I liked the matchup. It was a bit sloppy at points. You know, it was a little bit chaotic, but I think it really tied up towards the end. The only bit that I could really complain about is the ending. Okay. An X Factor, basically, we'll call it that, from the third rope doesn't put out your opponent, but a random unprettier does. I don't get it. To me, that was just a really big botch. I mean, if it had been the other way, or if they hadn't had that huge spot in there, I probably would have bought the ending more, but you can't convince me that Sheamus should have kicked out of that. That should have just been an end. That's really one of those moves that logistically you should not kick out of. I don't care if you're Sheamus or John Cena or anybody, but to me that really, it's one of those things that just really pulled me out of the matchup. And you know what? It's a nothing Intercontinental title match on Main Event, so I guess I can't be too upset, but it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Steven?
I, however, thought the ending was absolutely awesome. I loved how they took both Alberto and Sheamus and Dolph, both Alberto and Sheamus out, and then being the little creepy bastard that he is, Christian slid in and got the unprettier for a real heel victory. So I enjoyed it. Even though Christian looked fucking terrible, he looked sick as hell. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him. Weird, creepy carrot.
Yeah, I just want to point that out. I had never seen. It's like I said, I just started watching Raw again full time within the past 2 weeks, and man, I get why the whole ugly thing came about. Man, he looked like he aged like overnight.
I think Big E should have retracted the handshake. Ew, I don't want to touch you.
Yeah, and speaking of people who are looking funny, we have Creepers on to Radars in the chat room saying that Big E still looks like a toasted turd. Which I thought was absolutely hilarious. So props Creepers on the Radar in the chat room. Just reminding everyone we got the chat room rolling, and we're going to be opening up the phone lines in just a few minutes. First off, I want to take it over to Tony Mango, ask you what you thought about our Fatal 4-Way we had this evening.
You know, when this started off, I wasn't really into it, and they went to a commercial, and I just kind of figured by the time we come back, it's going to be close to the end, and then it's going to be finished. But when it came back, everybody was going nuts in the crowd, and I was like, what the hell? We usually have, that downtime between commercials is where they do rest holds, and, nothing really happens for the most part, and it seemed like we missed, the big turnaround to make this an awesome match. But I did end up liking it by the end of it. I think Ziggler kicked ass during it. I don't like Del Rio. I don't like Sheamus. So those two are just, the non-factors in this. I like Christian. I don't think that the purpose of this match is really going to go that far. Maybe it's just a way to try to get people to buy the network if they think tomorrow night there's going to be a title change or something. And hell, maybe if Christian wins, he'll be able to use that bonus money from winning the title and go to the doctor and get that jaundice fixed. But
or get that blue dot installed.
Yeah, maybe. But he's probably not going to win it. This is just a throwaway kind of situation to do something with Big E, because they dropped the whole thing with the Real Americans, and they haven't been setting him up for anybody else. Maybe this is even a way to get the Sheamus and Christian feud to end, because that has been pointless. So, I don't know. I like the match for what it was. I like the idea that they're trying something with Main Event. And I'll see what happens from there.
Well, why couldn't Christian win it? Why couldn't that make Christian versus Sheamus for the title then?
Oh, I
mean,
damn
Big
sure
E's
don't
not
want
No
doing
one
anything
wants to
with
see that shit.
I'd be okay with Christian being the next Intercontinental Champion, but at the same
He's got
time,
this new heel persona that he's trying to get with, so why the hell not?
at the same time as being okay with him as the champion, he's sort of in Kofi Kingston territory where he wins the title and you know that it's not going to mean anything. So if he wins, he's really just holding it for the next babyface that beats him.
Yeah, it's okay. Just put another Intercontinental title on the resume. I mean, he's probably had quite a number now. Probably not as many as Chris Jericho, but it's got to be up there, like 6 or 7.
I think he might be... Actually, I think he might be at like 4.
Oh, that's still a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, they were making a big deal about how Razor Ramon was the first 4-time Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, that's back when titles meant stuff and you didn't have 15-time world champions and stuff. When it was a huge deal that Bret Hart was a 5-time champion, and it was like, holy fuck, nobody's going to get to 5 again. Like,
All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines now. So if you want to go ahead and dial in area code 760-512-7247, operators are standing by to let you get in, give your opinions about tonight's Monday Night Raw, the build to WrestleMania, whatever the heck you want to talk about. Dial in, talk our ear off, and we'll listen, and we'll continue the conversation going with you as well. Give you a platform to talk about. That's what it's all about here on the Raw Post Show on Mega Powers Radio. For now, we're going to continue the conversation going on amongst ourselves, though. And, well, this was absolutely a phenomenal segment. Sin Cara versus Damien Sandow. Sin Cara, of course, did not come out alone. He was escorted and brought out in the Mystery Mobile by Scooby-Doo. Or is it Rudy Poo? Gotta listen to Smack Talk for that one. Sin Cara, though, comes out with Scooby-Doo. Children rejoiced. It was a fun time. So Damien Sandow looked like a jabroni, got pinned pretty quickly, and Sin Cara celebrated with Scooby-Doo. That's all really to say. I mean, you guys, anything you want to input to that?
That made me sad.
I got a question. Who has better promo skills, Sin Cara or Scooby-Doo?
I was actually hoping Scooby-Doo was going to wrestle. When he was coming out, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to have like a tag team match against, like, I don't know, some jabroni tag team right now. They can put anybody together. Rybaxel could have fit that spot.
Oh, you know what they got to do? They got to build up something with Scooby-Doo for WrestleMania and have the rematch of the dog kennel match.
God, that'd be abysmal.
They should have, like, Scooby-Doo versus the Bull.
Somebody made a great comment on Facebook. They posted a picture of Scooby-Doo with the line 2015 Hall of Fame inductee, and I'm sitting there thinking, you know what, at this point, WWE would induct a cartoon character into the Hall of Fame just to get themselves in the press.
Oh, it's only a matter of time before the finisher gets in the Hall of Fame, I'm sure. Has anybody actually watched that Slam City show?
It's out?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I
on,
didn't think it was coming out for
Cartoonium or whatever the crap it is.
I didn't think it was going to premiere for like weeks.
No, it was one of those things where it's just like, hey guys, there's the show. Hey, it's out already.
It didn't release. It escaped.
No, I didn't.
How about this Scooby-Doo special? I mean, are you guys going to watch that?
No.
Nobody's like interested? Like, I loved Scooby-Doo when I was a kid.
Yeah, when you was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee you this thing is gonna be making the rounds on Cartoon Network within the next few months. They're gonna tear through their copy of this Scooby-Doo movie thing. You're gonna see it on Saturday nights at like 7:00 on Cartoon Network.
All right. Well, if you people out there want to give your opinions, if you've seen these special Slam City or this Scooby-Doo WrestleMania crossover, give us your opinions by dialing in, using the chat room, whatever. We're going to take our first caller for tonight. Our good friend from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the 412 area code, JD. What's shaking, JD?
Hey, guys. How's it going tonight?
Absolutely tremendous, man. What'd you think about tonight's show?
Well, I mean, I got to see it until the last half hour. I mean, I've been battling a cold all day, but from what I saw, I mean, it wasn't a bad show. However, I mean, I did like the Undertaker Brock segment. I think that was very interesting. Definitely set the tone for WrestleMania. The whole sit-down thing with Michael Cole and Triple H was interesting. And then, of course, the beginning when Stephanie got told off by Dave Batista, I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm surprised they got away with that one. But obviously next week, of course, they got one more Raw to sell before WrestleMania. Of course, the big announcement being Scott Hall going into the Hall of Fame. I do question that a little bit. I thought they could have been a little bit better in naming a different person in the Hall of Fame. So all in all, it wasn't a bad show. But again, there were some things I liked and there were some things I didn't like. So I'd say it was a balls in the middle type show this week.
Yeah, there's parts that you could definitely be positive about. I think they had their hills and valleys. I think the problem is just that when you have 3 hours and you're this close to your biggest event of the year, why shouldn't you be running full engines? You know, why are you having filler matches with Scooby-Doo and Los Matadores?
Yeah, I mean, and of course you have Vickie coming out, and of course announcing the Divas Battle Royal. Of course, you think that would have been announced maybe like as a pre-show match, but then I think they're going to probably do that on the pre-show, I would imagine, because they're going to throw this all day, the giant Battle Royal in our face, and they've been throwing it in our face for a while. Of course, you had the announcement that Arnold said, "Oh, look at me, I should be in that." Joe Magalino says, "I should be in the 2 Hall Crunch," continuing, and Miz comes off. This is arrogant, whiny, pompous. You know, that's a guy who I'm really surprised that they haven't really given his pink up to yet, because this guy has just fallen way, way down the card, if you ask me.
Who is that?
Miz.
Oh, Miz. Wait,
Yes.
you're a Miz supporter at this point?
I'm just saying, I mean, they haven't done anything right with Miz for a while. I mean, they tried to do the whole thing with Miz, and they've done the whole Ric Flair thing for a while. However, I mean, there's so many guys right now that just, they got to clean up their roster. And some of these guys, however, are worthy to stay on, but some of these other guys just, I mean, they're lucky they're even staying with the roster, like a 3MB, like a Miz, like, say, maybe a Zack Ryder. I mean, come on. These guys aren't doing shit for the company.
No, not at all. And especially when you have this huge crop of guys sitting down in NXT that are just begging to get brought up to the main roster. Just way too much filler.
Exactly.
There's no reason to have that like that.
Yep.
And, you know, why have these stupid, silly little matches when you can do more compelling stuff with the guys who are higher up on there?
Well, I do think the NXT guys, there'll be a couple of those guys maybe enter to the Battle Royal. I would not be surprised. I mean, I'm just wondering when they're going to do this whole thing with Alexander Rusev. I mean, we always hear he's a Bulgarian brute, and then, of course, when he I'm like, it's like, come on. Really, that's almost as bad as Dickie's voice, if you ask me. That's just like yells on a chalkboard, if you ask me. I don't know if this whole Rusev thing is going to work. It's going to be like another cause left out, bro. I've been hearing a lot of good things about this guy. I mean, I'm hoping they do something with him, but I just don't hold my hope for him at all.
Yeah, he's the guy I've been backing ever since they announced this 30-man Battle Royal. So I have a very positive feeling about how they feel about him. If he's going to be able to live up to the hype, I don't know. I've watched his matches on NXT. He's fine. I think he needs to cut his hair, and I think his character needs some tweaking.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen some of his matches on NXT, and you're right. He does need to cut his hair, and he does need tweaking. I mean, there's other guys, like you said, I mean, they could, I don't know, like Ambrose, Colin Kaepernick, Aiden English, those type of guys. See, that's why I think WWE has got to go back to doing the 2-hour Raw and making these sets a week on end, making an hour-long NXT program instead of having it on the network. Just do it on USA from 8 to 9, like a Sunday Night Heat warm-up, and have NXT warm-up or something like that, and then go back into Raw, doing it from 9 to 11 or after 11 o'clock, you know?
That's not a bad idea. Then it would be a lot easier to have those guys do crossover.
Exactly.
No. JD, you are going to be at WrestleMania in a couple weeks. Now that we had the development that we had tonight, are you feeling more excited for that show?
I am. I really am. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I've just been knocked out with this cold today, but it is going to be a fun time in New Orleans. However, I'll try to get on with you guys while I'm on assignment, but if not, I will call you guys when I get back from New Orleans the Monday after. I want to tell you how it was, but I am so pumped for this. I mean, next week, however, I'm going to be in D.C. It's opening day for the Major League Baseball season. Of course, the thing that really pisses me off, we have to have Randy and Batista before WrestleMania 1-on-1. Obviously, Daniel Bryan didn't show up tonight because he's telling the injury still. I think he will be back next Monday. However, if not, I think they're going to keep him out till WrestleMania, and that's when we're going to see the feel-good moment happen.
All right, phenomenal. JD, like we always like to wrap things up here, your high point, low point for tonight's Monday Night Raw.
I would say the high point by far was the whole last segment with Heyman and Lesnar and Taker. I mean, it was Taker's birthday, and it just hit a home run. And I think we're definitely in. This is going to be one hellacious war we're going to see in New Orleans. This is going to be a bloodbath. This is going to be spun out of the Superdome into the French Quarter, into Bourbon Street. This is going to be maybe the match of the night, I think, coming up at WrestleMania. The low point, I hate to say it, but I'll say it anyway. I watched it earlier today on demand. It just, I don't know what they were thinking about putting Scott Hall in the Hall of Fame. It just does not make any sense. It could have been anyone else but Scott Hall. I just don't like it. Don't get me wrong, I think Scott Hall's a good wrestler, but I just don't think he was worthy of going in this year.
And the thing I think is weirdest about that is the fact that he's going in as Razor Ramon, not Scott Hall. They barely mentioned anything about him being Scott Hall.
Exactly. And I would not be surprised if we see something happen at WrestleMania. There's been some talk about that, I heard. I don't see that happening. He's had so many personal health issues and demons over the years. It's the same thing with the Warrior, however. I mean, they're talking about doing a match with Warrior at the Hall of Fame. I just don't see these guys getting involved in WrestleMania in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, they'll be introduced, but I hope to God they don't get in the ring or at least take away what should be a very good show.
Absolutely. All right, JD. Well, we hope you feel better, bro. Maybe we'll talk to y'all next week. If not, possibly the week after. You're going to be down in New Orleans having an absolute blast, so you have a good time there. And we'll talk to you soon after, man.
I will.
One last
I'll
thing,
definitely give you guys a call next Monday for sure. And I will talk to you guys before I leave for my trip, and then I'll talk to you when I get back from North. Take care, guys. Have a great rest of the week.
Tony apparently has something he wants to ask you. What's up, Tony?
One last thing, JD. If you want to be a part of something that we do with Smack Talk and Smark Out Moment, if you bring a sign that says Smark Out Moment to the WrestleMania and you send a picture to us, we'll put it up on the website, just to let you know.
I'll try to, because I'm going to be up in the nosebleeds, but I'll try to do it, Tony. You got my word on that.
Cool.
Aww.
Have fun, man.
Good people. All right, JD.
Get well soon, JD.
Absolutely. Have a good night,
Thanks,
JD.
guys.
Take care of yourself.
You too, man. Bye.
All right, we got our next caller on the line, another person who's becoming a good friend of the show, calling in through the Skype line, Mr. Joey Hurt. What's shaking, Joey?
Good night, gentlemen.
What's shaking, Joe? What'd you think about tonight's Raw, dude?
I say they continued this great Raws leading into WrestleMania. It was an excellent show from top to bottom.
What were some of your favorite parts?
Well, it got better as it progressed. Like the Triple H segment, I thought that was great. And then they come out with Schwarzenegger and Hogan and this other gentleman. And Schwarzenegger, he delivered an impressive backhand fist to The Miz. Remind me of something I saw maybe in Star Trek or a Bond movie. And I thought that was awesome. And then they come with the Cena and Harper match. That was great. Mm-hmm. But then that is replaced by this the Shield and the Real Americans. So it got better and better. And when I thought, oh, this is going to be the highlight of the night, it just was replaced soon after by the next segment.
I always like talking to you, Joe. You always come up with all this positivity, and you always make me feel better about the show we just watched, because you're right. There was a few damn good matches between Cena and Harper. That sit-down interview was fantastic. So there's absolutely a lot of things to walk away from tonight's show and be like, yeah, I enjoyed this.
Right. It was an excellent show. And I got to say, the Brooklyn crowd also did their part.
Oh, New York is absolutely fantastic. I don't believe you're from that area, Joe. I think you said you're from like the Midwest.
No, I'm actually from Brooklyn.
Oh, you are from Brooklyn. Okay, so you know how it is here. Have you been to wrestling shows around here?
I haven't ever been to a New York wrestling show.
Oh my goodness, man! You got to get to the Garden. Anytime you're in the Garden, just being in that tight space with all those people, it's just a phenomenal experience.
Okay, very good.
The Barclays Center is very nice too. I mean, it's a new building. It's considered the most technologically advanced arena in the country right now. So there's a lot of cool things going on there. I haven't actually gotten to visit it myself. This is their second Raw. They've run out of there. So you're not too far from there, I have to imagine. I wish I had gotten tickets for this Raw tonight. Even if it was not the most amazing Raw, I wish I was there. You know, show is always better in person.
Right. The atmosphere was crazy watching it from television. So I can only imagine times 10 if you were in person.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about Razor Ramon going into the Hall of Fame?
Excellent. I like it. You know, he was a favorite of mine as a youth, and I'm glad to see him get some accolades, and hopefully he has continued better health. Hopefully he continues to get better in his health thanks to DDP. Yeah,
absolutely. I wonder if they're going to be playing anything between those two, because of the story that they've had is a beautiful one. One of the few times that real life ends up being far more beautiful than what you could ever possibly script. Joey, what was your high point and your low point for tonight's Monday Night Raw?
Yes, I will have to say the high point was that Shield and the Real Americans match was great. The crowd was into it, as you heard the holy blank chants there. So it was excellent. Oh, and then the low point was I was going to say the Sandow jobber status. I think he's better than that. Mm-hmm. But then that was going to be my low point. But when this show concluded and there was somebody missing, notably, Daniel Bryan, mm-hmm. I thought that's the low point. I really thought, even though Miss McMahon said he will not be there, I thought he would crash the show like Stone Cold did years earlier with a beer thing. Maybe not as grand, but I thought Daniel Bryan would make an appearance, and I'm, that's kind of disappointing.
Just a satellite interview. Show him in a hospital bed saying, I just want all the Yes Movement believers to know that I'm going to continue fighting. They can't keep me down for too long. That's all you guys,
right.
Well, you guys have to understand, though, the only person that's allowed to come back after a beatdown and not have to sell it is John Cena. You could run him over with a Mack truck. He's back the next week.
Right, I understand that. And they want to preserve Daniel Bryan and sell the injury angle. But that's a Brooklyn show. You got to give them, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, man. I think not being able to see that whole sea of Brooklyners doing the Yes chant together in unison, I think is a sad thing we did not get to see tonight.
I mean, I can understand if this was Baltimore or something, then you can keep Daniel Bryan away. The reason I called out Baltimore because, to me they disrespected the Snake when he came out some months back or some weeks back. So I always keep them in my mind when I think of places I wouldn't want to hold Raw. But this is Brooklyn, and so. Yes.
I mean, if we're gonna hold certain crowds hostage like that, I'd probably go for the crowd at the Nassau Coliseum. I've heard nothing but bad things about that crowd.
Well, Nassau ends up as a mixed crowd because sometimes it's hot because you get those New York people coming in, but then sometimes they're real stinkers. It's a very mixed bag out there. It's just like Jersey.
Yeah,
sometimes you get a hot crowd in New Jersey. Sometimes it'll be pretty terrible.
Well, I remember the last time, maybe not the last time, but the show after last WrestleMania, which was in Izod, that show was raucous. The crowd was very into it. The yes chants were deafening, I hear. So I've always assumed that Izod is a good crowd. Madison Square Garden is great. Mm-hmm. This Brooklyn Arena is becoming great here, Barclays. Mm-hmm. Chicago's up there. So those are some that I think,
Montreal.
Are Montreal, okay.
Montreal's
fun. I like the commentators when they go to Montreal. They always think things are weird there.
Bizarro World.
Bizarre. Yeah, right. That's come from Ross and Lawler. Yeah. And so how do you rank Toronto?
Oh, what's gone down in Toronto? I know Cena and Edge had a really awesome ladder match in Toronto once. That's the only thing I can really remember ever happening in Toronto, so I don't feel like I can give a fair opinion.
Are we talking pay-per-views? Because didn't 10 and 18 happen at in Toronto?
Oh, you're
right. Yeah,
you are correct.
Those are great pay-per-views.
Well, not 10.
That's
10,
when
10 was in Madison Square Garden, but 18 did.
6 and 18.
6. It was 6. Okay, I got it mixed up.
Yeah, and that's when Toronto flipped the script on the writers because they wanted to make Hogan a heel in that match against The Rock. But the fans weren't having it. They cheered him. And this shows you the greatness between The Rock and Hogan. They were able to then flip their script mid-match and make Rock the heel and Hogan the face. And really the match ended up with them both being over at the end of that match at WrestleMania 18.
Yeah.
That shows greatness with the wrestlers. It's really probably Hogan directed that. He probably told Rock, okay, follow my lead. Here's what we do. Because the fans are... yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, that was great and all, but that compares nothing to WrestleMania 20 at Madison Square Garden when they sent out Bill Goldberg and Brock Lesnar and wanted them to impress the crowd. And the crowd was like, nope, fuck these guys. They're leaving.
and Austin took it upon his own to make that better, and he stunned the both of them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, Joey, fantastic call as always, man. You have a tremendous night.
Thank you. You too, gentlemen.
All right, two fantastic callers, and the phone lines will remain open for the remainder of the show, folks. Dial in, give your opinions, area code 760-512-7247. You can also dial in using Skype, pressing the little Skype logo icon at the top of the broadcast page, and the chat room is rolling nicely. We got Vix, that's just what I'm going to call him from now on, Slim RGS, Liberty Unlimited, Creepers on the Radars, and Mr. Steven Juego from the show, keeping things bumping inside there. Lots of guests. Why don't you guys register yourselves and talk into the chat room? Get yourselves involved. It's always a lot more fun that way. And we're going to continue the conversation here with the panelists, running down our review of the Raw show tonight. We left off with the Sin Cara Damien Sandow match. Up next was a tag team contest featuring Los Matadores, Ole and Rybaxel. Not much got to happen in this match because soon after it started, the Shield walked in through the crowd. The Matadors win with a quick roll-up pin. Afterwards, they duck out. The Shield surrounds the ring with Rybaxel in it, and the Shield picks at him like a pack of wild dogs, eventually triple power bombing Ryback. And that happened. So, I don't know. You guys have anything you want to add?
Way to sell the tag title match at WrestleMania, huh?
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot. I didn't even catch that they mentioned that. Why on earth was Rybaxel, of all people, chosen to be the tag contenders?
And not only is it not listed on WWE.com, but they added the Divas match, but they did it just in passing through commentary, as if it really didn't matter at all. They're just like, oh, by the way, Kane gave them a title match against the Usos. And then they lose the match. And they don't even lose to the Shield. They lose to Los Matadores. Like, they're not people that really should be beating somebody who's supposed to be, set up for a title match.
Ole.
Oh, God. That has to be a pre-show match. Has to be. Just some throwaway, pointless, get the people to watch something and waste 2 hours kind of thing. Which is a shame. Because don't the Usos deserve a little bit better than that?
Yeah, at this point, I mean, do they?
Well, I think what's disappointing about that is they do deserve a little bit better than that because this is the start of their title reign, and WWE has this mentality a lot of the time where they'll set somebody up with nothing, and then they'll get mad at them because they couldn't take that to the next level. And giving Ryback and Curtis Axel to the Usos is not going to end up, making waves. So they're going to look at that and they're going to be like, oh, people were bored with that. They must be bored with the Usos as champions. Let's fuck them over. So and it's like, it's really not their fault. I mean, you gave them Ryback and Curtis Axel.
Slim RJS saying Rybaxel got the beating because of a beatdown on the Shield on this past Friday SmackDown during a 6-on-2 handicap match.
Oh, yeah, I remember they showed that in the commercials. I remember when they were recapping SmackDown and saying, you got to catch this week's episode of SmackDown.
Things happen on SmackDown? Is that happening again?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, but I'm in agreement with Tony. It's frustrating, You want to care about stipulation. You basically want to care about things WWE does, but when they give off this attitude that even they don't care about it, it's frustrating because you're like, well, why should I care that Ryback and Curtis Axel are challenging for the title against the Usos when clearly you don't because you've completely made them look like jabronis. Why should we care? What's the driving point? Is this literally just a time filler? Even as a time filler, you could put a little bit more effort and make us care about it, but I don't know. That's one of a million other things that WWE just seemingly does not care about. Damien Sandow, sorry about that.
God bless you. Well, after that pointless tag team match, we had Michael Cole in the ring with a couple director-style chairs, invites out Triple H, and the moment I saw that they were sitting down for this interview, I was like, okay, this is going to be good, because if you've been watching those WWE.com interviews they've been doing, they've all been great. Triple H still has it after all these years, and he's filling in this authority role very well, I would say. And this interview shows that not only can he be that authority role, but he could still be the game, and he could still build a match and make it feel like it's a big-time important match in lieu of Daniel Bryan not being able to be there. Triple H says he's starting the reality era, and the reality is that he's going to be walking out of WrestleMania as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I'll take some time to actually give each of you guys your opinions on this, because I thought this was phenomenal. I don't know what you guys thought, but Sean, what did you think about this segment?
I kind of missed it. I was playing Pokemon Red on my phone.
Ugh.
So I
one
caught
thing
the
you
last...
miss.
I know. I missed the best part by the sounds of it, but I caught the last 2 minutes of it, and yeah, it was just my machine, my WWE, my title. Same old, same old. He's not going to win it. It's going to go to Batista. Just saying.
He was your starter.
What's my start? My start was Charmander, but...
That's the big question we needed to know.
Steven?
Always Charmander. Always Charmander.
Steven?
Yeah. I enjoyed the segments. I thought Triple H was on his A game, which is great because he's had some shitty promos for the last few weeks in his authority role. So it's nice to see the game back, and I hope he sticks around with him, taking this persona a bit more, because as much as I like an authority angle, this one's grown stale on me, so it's nice to see something different. And it was nice for them to implement the WWE.com interviews, because Michael Cole and Triple H have been having these tense interviews for weeks now, and it's always a lot of fun. So it was cool to see it in a live format.
They're excellent. I mean, it reminds me of the Jim Ross Vince McMahon interviews.
I don't actually remember them. I don't know why.
Oh, they're great. No. Tony, what'd you think about this tonight?
I liked it. I think it would have been better if they wouldn't have had it after and surrounding matches that weren't really that great. If it would have been a stronger episode of Raw, this would have gone over a lot better. But it was segment, you put the magnifying glass just on this segment alone. It was a good segment. And I haven't watched those WWE.com interviews, so I don't know if there was any kind of references that they threw out there that I would, tip my hat to or whatever. But it seemed like it was a good way to get Triple H to express himself without doing the same exact thing that he's been doing for the past couple of weeks, where he comes out and he stands on the stage. So, you mix it up a little bit, and that's good. I do think on top of the whole match situation where that kind of hindered it, no Daniel Bryan hurt it as well, because you didn't get some kind of a response back from him. If you would have had the Stephanie promo, which was pretty pointless, and Triple H, and then it's okay, well, we've gotten that side of the argument. Now Daniel Bryan is gonna say fuck you to them or something. I don't know. That would have been maybe a better way to end this, or build something else throughout the night or something like that. I don't know, but I like that. I thought that it was pretty decent.
I'd love that. Daniel Bryan's music hits. Hey, fuck you.
yeah, Triple H. I've kind of said a lot of stuff, so puts up the middle finger. So fuck you, buddy. That's all I gotta say. The whole crowd would just be like, fuck you, fuck you.
Miguel, what'd you think about our interview with Triple H tonight?
I liked it. It had a nice intensity to it. You almost had a vibe like you thought this is going to go downhill at some point, and not in a bad way. I meant, you always got that vibe to it where any second now Triple H could just snap and just take his anger out on Michael Cole, almost similar to that intensity that was the case during the Kane promo last week with the Shield. You almost felt like something bad was just on the horizon, but in a good way. If there's one thing I could say about this, honestly, is that it really shined a light on the fact that there really is no other place they can go with this whole outcome. The way they built up Triple H as the bad guy, and the way they built up just how hateable he is, I really can't see them giving us anything more than Daniel Bryan winning at WrestleMania. I mean, it would almost be akin to the fallout that happened after Hogan beat Sting at Starrcade. You can't build up something this hard for this long and then just not deliver at the end. And I feel like if they do end up swerving the fans and just kind of, proving that they know better than them and not giving Daniel Bryan the title, it's going to blow up really bad. And to me, this was just proof of that. They built it up so well, they have to go with the obvious. It just makes too much sense.
Not Batista. Deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it.
Well, after that interview segment, we went to another match between Cody Rhodes and Fandango, which barely even mattered because they spent more time focusing on the hijinks between Goldust and Summer Rae on the outside, doing some kind of weird dance-off thing. Summer Rae twists her ankle, falls to the ground, distracting Fandango long enough for Cody Rhodes to hit the disaster kick for the pin. Worthless time filler.
You know, it's ironic that Summer Rae hurt her heel and Fandango is a heel.
Shut up.
Because I rip my pants.
I love you, JBL.
All right, we got another caller on the line. We're going to go ahead and bring him onto the show. It is caller from the 856 area code. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
What's up, guys? It's Dave from New Jersey.
Dave from New Jersey. Thanks for calling to the Raw Post Show,
Yeah.
bro. How you doing tonight?
Dane, not Dave.
Dane. I'm sorry, dude. Dane.
Yeah.
Okay, we know you.
Dude. Yeah.
You must be ecstatic, man. Christian just won a #1 contendership for the Intercontinental title tonight.
Yeah, you already. That's a spoiler. That was my high point.
You think he's gonna win?
Nah, probably not. I figured that Sheamus is going to interfere, and then maybe they'll have like a blow off of their feud.
Did you notice how fucking ugly he was tonight?
Dude, he's rugged. He's a rugged veteran.
He's a mountain man from Canada.
He looks like he's gonna kill over.
You would know nothing about that pretty English
Dude,
boy.
he looks like CM Punk before he quit. Just like tired of the nonsense and politics backstage.
Weathered, basically, as you're trying to say.
What's that?
Weathered.
He looks like a hot dog.
He looks
Hulk Hogan.
He looks like a world champion, if you ask me.
Fuck me, if that's a world champion, I ain't watching WWE anymore.
I'm sticking with TNA.
He looks like a guy that carried his quote-unquote brother to the top.
What did you think about some of the things that happened tonight? Our final segment between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. How'd that leave you feeling?
I didn't really care for it too much. Like you see one Undertaker segment, you've seen them all. It's kind of disappointed that CM Punk wasn't in one of those Creature of the Night outfits that were going on. Not that I would expect them to come out or anything, but I don't know, it's just the same old Undertaker, whoever he's facing segment. I figured he's not going to be on Raw, so I guess this is the last time you'll see the Undertaker until New Orleans.
You're a fellow old school fan like some of us, not like super old school, but you've been watching since the 90s, I believe. What'd you think about our sit down with Triple H tonight? You think the game still got it, or is this just annoying you?
Oh, well, I was the biggest Triple H fan, like, late 90s to even now. Like, I still like him, even though I think he should step back and let, like, some of the newer guys take the spotlight. But, yeah, he was always my favorite, so anytime he's on TV, I enjoy it.
What do you think about Razor Ramon as our newest announced inductee of the Hall of Fame?
I mean, it's good. I remember, like, when I was younger, I always liked Razor Ramon. Like you guys mentioned earlier about not mentioning, like, Scott Hall at all. I felt like Scott Hall, the person, like, character in WCW, had a bigger impact on, like, the wrestling industry than Razor Ramon ever did.
Oh, absolutely, with the Outsiders angle. And not
Yeah,
to downplay Razor Ramon, but my gosh, that was one of the biggest angles in wrestling ever.
Well, perhaps it's that if you Google Scott Hall, you find drug addict. If you Google Razor Ramon, you find former old school wrestler.
That's a very good. It's a very good observation.
At the college I went to, one of the buildings was Scott Hall.
Oh, I've seen pictures of that place. That's awesome. What college was that at?
That's the first thing I thought of too when we went to that. I went to the same college, and the first day it was just like, Scott Hall? Dude, am I going to go to, like, Diesel next?
Yeah, I was, like, so excited. Like, I thought I was, like, so cool. Like, nobody knew what it meant.
Like, anytime the teacher or, like, your guidance counselor is like, yeah, your class is going to be at Scott Hall. You're, like, chuckling. They're like, what?
Yeah, it says it right on the front of the main entrance, Scott Hall.
It's a building called Scott Hall.
The disappointment though is the rest are all like college center and all that. Like there's no like Hugh Morris Center or anything.
Center.
You would expect a building like that to be at the Performance Center.
Yeah,
Scott Hall and the Hugh Morris Center. I bet he is down there. I mean, you know what? That's actually something that could happen. Bill DeMott is one of the big trainers down there. There could eventually be a Hugh Morris building.
When he isn't stripping students and making them run around.
That needs to be a bit on Smark Out moment. What wrestlers do you think deserve buildings named after them at the Performance Center?
Hugh Morris is number 1.
Hell yeah, he is. Number 2 would be Hardcore Holly.
Oh, I was just about to say that.
To make Bob Core's bungalow. Oh, goodness. Dana, what else stuck out to you on tonight's show?
I mean, I figure you guys would disagree, but I always like that the Divas titles on the line.
Mm-hmm.
There's always like some matches that I enjoyed, like when Chyna hurt her neck and then faced Ivory. I thought that was cool back in the day.
Oh, yeah. It's always possible for them to make it interesting. And I think the thing that they have going with this now is that they have all these divas involved. You don't know what's going to happen. Like, literally anything can happen when you have all these divas in one match.
Well, the only definite that we know of, if you've seen promos for the upcoming season of Total Divas, is that AJ's losing the belt. There's going to be a new champion just from the promos they've shown on Total Divas, because I think the final episode actually takes place at WrestleMania.
Huh. How'd they film that already then?
They filmed something. I remember seeing a promo for it where they actually show clips like them at WrestleMania or something. And
how do they get like filmed footage of the future?
They're doing the TNA thing where they just record it weeks in advance.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
They probably filmed part 2 of the series of the season. Like South Park does, like 6 episodes, and then like months later, 6 episodes or something like that.
Yeah, they're filming as much that they can without actually having to be at the event. And then just kind of filling in the blanks when they get there.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, and then just filling it with random B-roll shots. Like, yeah, look, this was totally at WrestleMania because we have footage of her here. I get you. All right, Dane, your high point and low point for tonight's Raw, man.
Low point, I didn't really care for the Undertaker and Brock Lesnar segment. I mean, it's deja vu, but you just like filling guys with like Punk or Mark Henry or Prince Albert, or anybody that he beat, Jake the Snake probably. High points, obviously Christian. And if you don't mind, if I can give a plug real quick.
Absolutely, bro.
Order the WWE Network so you can watch the coronation of the real Intercontinental Champion tomorrow live on Main Event as Christian retakes his rightful place as the Intercontinental Champion.
All right, well, certainly stay tuned for that. Dane, thank you for calling in, bro. Have a good night, man.
See it.
All right, another tremendous call here on the Raw Post Show on Mega Powers Radio. Phone lines will be remaining open. Please dial in. Give us your opinion about tonight's show, the build to WrestleMania, whatever the heck is on your mind. We're here to listen. Area code 760-512-7247. The chat room's rolling. Twitter can be used as well. The hashtag Raw Post Show. Lots of ways for you folks to get involved. And we're going to continue the fun here with us panelists. We left off talking about Cody Rhodes and Fandango. Lots of excitement there. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next segment we had, which featured Hulk Hogan, another one of his Raw appearances. I'm happy to see him. He's actually continuing to come out once in a while. It wasn't just that one thing like, I'm going to be at WrestleMania, brother, and then I'm at WrestleMania, brother, and that's it. He's actually keeping himself involved in the family, but not too much. I don't want him being an authority figure or anything like that. Just every once in a while and come out and, help promote something. That's awesome. And promote he did. He invited out our special celebrity guests of the evening, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Joe
Arnold's sidekick.
Joe Menounos?
Yes.
They are promoting some movie. They were fine. Whatever. The crowd didn't like the Joe guy too much, but he ended up winning him over with the good old "I'm right here in Brooklyn" trick. These fucking idiots fall for it every time. They ended up getting interrupted by The Miz, who says that he deserves to be in the Battle Royal, not them. I forgot to mention that Arnold and Joe said that they wanted to be in the Battle Royal, and I'm confused. Is that actually going to happen now?
I don't think so.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He doesn't have time to waste at WrestleMania.
He doesn't?
No, he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. He's got plenty of stuff to do.
Like what?
Isn't he still governor of California?
So? Nothing goes on in California.
Is he? I thought that was over.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd like to see these two in it. Why the fuck not? I mean, we've got like 13 spots left or something.
That Joe guy was huge.
He is
dwarfed
huge, yeah.
Arnold.
Hey, if it means that Arnold gets a Big Show chop, I'm all for it.
They probably will, just so they can have an excuse to induct Arnold into the Hall of Fame.
I want Arnold and Alexander Rusev to have like a Germanic nonsense off.
Shit, I'd be okay with Arnold throwing Rusev out and then fucking throwing him out the WWE too. Ugh.
Well, let's move on to another giant. Big Show faced Titus O'Neil in a singles competition matchup. Short match, ended up getting the victory with the weapon of mass destruction. Big Show continuing to be centered as one of the biggest threats into the Battle Royal, as he should. You know, the big man should always be made to look like the biggest threat. Anybody else got anything they want to add to that?
Titus O'Neil, he didn't get an intro, did he? He was just kind of there.
No, he got the I'm in the ring with my music playing already.
Man, that was the case the entire night. Like, am I the only one that noticed that?
To be fair, no one wants to hear fucking Titus O'Neil's music.
Yeah, his new music
shit.
sucks.
True, but
really
I mean,
bad.
that was the case with the what's it called, the Matadors. It was the case with Del Rio and Christian. What other matchup?
You're naming a bunch of people that I couldn't give a fuck about. You see the connection?
Yeah, fair enough. I just figured that was worth pointing out.
So let's move on to a match that was a little bit more exciting to talk about. John Cena facing a member of the Wyatt family, Luke Harper. Luke Harper, man, continuing to impress myself and I'm sure lots of other people as well, especially the Brooklyn crowd, who even at a point in this match was giving "Let's go Harper" chants. Thought this guy's just had an absolutely fantastic match. Luke Harper doing his through the ropes. What the hell is that movie? I always fucking blank. The tope. The through the ropes tope onto John Cena. Phenomenal to see a guy of his size doing a move like that. And just in general, the timing that he had throughout the match, the facial expressions. Luke Harper, I've said it since I saw the Wyatt family come through. When this is all said and done, I think is going to be the standout member of the Wyatt family. Very similar to how Roman Reigns has become the standout member of the Shield. We don't get to see an official ending to this match, though. The lights go out with the sheet mask going bat in it, and the whole Wyatt family shtick. When the lights come back on, John Cena is tied up in the bottom ropes with a sheet mask on his face, surrounded by the Wyatt family members, crowd chanting, "This is awesome." Really, really awesome way to hype up this match at WrestleMania they're having, and a match that at first when I heard it and as they were building it, I was completely doubting, but now is actually one of the ones I'm starting to look the most forward to at WrestleMania. So start passing around to you guys. Tony?
You know what's kind of weird about the Luke Harper thing? I do think that he's showing a lot more than he used to, and that he's going to be well far above Eric Rowan. But what's kind of weird is, like, Bray Wyatt is getting the reputation of being the talker. Luke Harper is getting the reputation of being the worker in the ring. And Eric Rowan, my God, he is getting no reputation whatsoever.
He's getting the guy with the wedgie.
He's the fucking dude who stands on the side, and it's like, you can go, okay, well, is it the tall guy who works really well, or is it Bray Wyatt, the good talker, or is it the fucking weird-ass janitor with the sheet mask? That's all he's known for. And it's funny that WWE even had that match between Eric Rowan and John Cena. And as far as I know, they didn't do a rematch of that. But the Luke Harper one was like, oh, this was so good, we needed to do another one. So fuck Eric Rowan, apparently. I am pretty excited about this match, more so than I was before, though, for WrestleMania. I think that they're doing a pretty good job of building it up. And maybe I was a little bit too harsh on it before when I said that John Cena deserved better and that Bray Wyatt can't possibly end up making this as good as it should be. Because it seems like they're sort of doing that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it'll all depend on what happens when WrestleMania comes out, because if Bray Wyatt and John Cena don't have good chemistry together, then this is going to be terrible. and there's nothing that can really save it. As far as the build-up, cool. I like the match between Harper and Cena. I think they actually work pretty well together, and I wouldn't mind seeing the third one.
Sean?
I don't know what it is, but every time something interesting happens on Raw, my stream dies.
Oh.
It's so disappointing, but yeah. Which one was wrestling again?
Luke Harper, the one with the dirty shirt.
The tall Mick Foley, yeah, the tall Mick Foley.
Yeah.
We'll just call him that from now on.
The talented one.
Yeah. I think he's going to have a great future in the WWE. And, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to Bray Wyatt and Cena's match at WrestleMania. It's a lot more interesting than the undercard, I suppose. I'm looking forward to that match more than I am Brock Lesnar and Undertaker, that's for sure.
Crazy how that's worked out. You know what's helped out a lot was that Eminem video they made. That video package is fantastic.
Yeah, it's cool.
Miguel?
You know, let me just start off by saying that when this whole Wyatt thing is said and done, if they wanted to clean up Luke Harper and repackage him as something completely different, I'd be okay with it. And I honestly, I think that would be better for him in the future. I don't see the Luke Harper character really going far, but I think the performer himself could go a lot further if he had a more cohesive gimmick. You know, if he wasn't just a dirty, Southern stereotype like Vince McMahon loves his Southern stereotypes. He could probably go a lot further than where he's at. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Luke Harper down the line. In terms of the whole Bray Wyatt John Cena thing, I honestly, I'm the exact opposite with Tony. I've been a fan of this since the beginning because I think a guy like John Cena really needs a charismatic heel to really carry him through a lot of these promos and a lot of the build-up, because let's be honest, John Cena really, unless you got a big name star like The Rock or something, he really can't carry the bulk of a program. But Bray Wyatt's been doing great. I mean, his promos have been just spot on, just the whole gimmick. Like he's in on it. He's got it. And I really want to see him win because I want to see this continue. I think if you have John Cena win at WrestleMania, there's nowhere else you can go. They really got to give this to Bray Wyatt, and they can stretch this out to SummerSlam for all I care. I'm enjoying this.
And Steven?
Anything short of Bray Wyatt not winning and facing Daniel Bryan in the following months is shitty to me, because I really want Daniel Bryan to get his win back, and I also want to see those two go at it again. So I'm really not sold on the John Cena feud with Bray Wyatt. The only thing that will make it worth anything to me is to actually have Bray Wyatt beat John Cena. As far as tonight's match goes, it was so-so. Good outing by Luke Harper, but it was better as background noise than anything I wanted to watch.
All right, well, if you have an opinion you want to give about the John Cena-Bray Wyatt match or anything else going on that happened on tonight's Raw or the build to WrestleMania, call in to the Raw Post Show here on Mega Powers Radio, area code 760-512-7247. You can also use Skype by hitting the Skype icon on the broadcast page, or the chat room is rolling as well. Next segment we had on Raw was, I guess, what was supposed to be a Divas match between AJ Lee and one of the Funkadactyls, maybe. It never really happened. AJ Lee started walking out, but she was interrupted by Vickie Gurrero, who was happy to inform her, A, that she always thought she was a bitch, and B, that at WrestleMania, she is going to be defending her title against everybody. She named every single diva one by one, had them walk out, lasted for freaking ever. I was like, oh my gosh, what was she gonna say? Oksana next? And then, yeah, sure thing, she said Oksana next. But I'm okay with this. Every girl gets a nice little payday. It keeps it mysterious. You have no idea who's gonna come out of this. She included Tamina. She said her last. Tamina gave this sly little smile at the end, so we could certainly expect to see Tamina turning her back on AJ Lee once and for all and starting to make a character for herself. I don't know if I'm exactly confident in her winning the match. I think they're going to try to surprise us with someone out of the blue. But, yeah, that's happening now. So, Tony, what'd you think about our Divas setup for WrestleMania now?
How can Vickie Gurrero make that match?
Because she has power. I told you, there's just like 100 people who have power.
Well, did she like Teddy Long, where she just like sort of stayed in power long enough and she got saturated with it, and they're just kind of like, oh, well, now you can do that from now on? That's
I thought she was the GM of SmackDown, isn't she?
I think she is the GM of SmackDown.
Really?
Yeah.
There are more shits happening on SmackDown than I know of. I don't know. I think that it makes sense and it doesn't at the same time. You can't really expect to see a lot of these people make any kind of contribution to the match. And I thought that it was pretty funny that when they were announcing it, it was like, Nikki Bella. Oh, Nikki Bella's going to be in it. And Naomi. Oh, Naomi, cool. Summer Rae, woo, et cetera, et cetera. And then it gets to Rosa Mendez. And I can't remember if it was JBL or Lawler, but they're like, Rosa Mendez? Like, they couldn't even hold it back. They're just like, the fuck, her? I'm confused about what this match is supposed to be, though. Is it like a scramble, or is it a battle royal where people are going to get eliminated? It can't be a.
We already have a battle royal.
Right, but like they can't have all these people all in the ring at the same time and have an infall, right?
Yeah, they can.
Are they going to do that thing that they did with Chavo? Back as in Mania 20 when he had all the cruiserweights around the ring.
Well, did they have like that many people in there? I thought there was only like a couple.
No, a lot of cruiserweights.
I don't know how they're going to pull this off, especially because if they have all of them in the ring, that's just going to be such a clusterfuck. And I'm really curious to see who fucks it up the most, if it's going to be Oksana, if it's going to be Rosa.
There's going to be a lot of hair pulling.
Oh, my God. There's going to be so much screaming and so many bad punches, and this is going to be a mess. But it could be fun to watch because of how big of a mess it's going to be. And I really hope that AJ retains.
You know what would be cool? She says it's the Vickie Gurrero Invitational. What if there's a surprise invite right before WrestleMania? Paige or like Karma, like so much potential. Santina, why the hell not? Or
doesn't her kid wrestle?
They dropped her about a year or two ago.
Well, she still wrestles. She's not with the company, but she wrestles.
Well, I think she's back in the company actually.
Really?
I haven't seen her on NXT or anything like that.
Well, they don't put everybody on TV. Maybe she's one of the partiers for Adam Rose. That's something she could do. Oh, but Miguel, what do you think about our Divas setup?
I'm having shades of WrestleMania 25 when I think of this. I think this is going to be a 15-minute intro leading into a 5-minute match. I don't see this being anything but a disaster like Tony's talking about. In terms of where did this come from? Like, am I missing something from SmackDown? Has there been heat between Vickie and AJ? Because I haven't heard anything about it on the spoilers or anything like that I've read. It's just kind of like all of a sudden she's like, I don't like you. I'm going to put you in a matchup with everybody.
No. AJ's always been rude to Vickie. She's always like called her old and.
But everybody does that.
Yeah, but Vickie really wants CM Punk.
Yeah, Vickie's just jealous because AJ Lee is the youngest and the prettiest. It's kind of like the Wicked Witch going after Snow White.
Maybe. I don't know. It just, to me, it came out of nowhere, and like I said, I didn't know what to feel because I don't think this is going to be anything attractive at all. I think, like I said, it's going to be a lot of filler of the women coming in and then just a bunch of just noise in the ring. And whoever wins, it doesn't matter because I'll give AJ credit. She's tried to make that belt mean something, but once it drops from her waist, I'm not going to care anything about it at all.
Does that belt even fit her waist?
You know what I hope happens? I hope AJ ends up saying,
because I rip our pants!
Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
Lots of wardrobe malfunctions. Steven, what do you think about it?
Women, wrestlers, yay. Yeah.
Sean?
Eva Marie's going to win that entire thing.
I could see it.
You know what? I'd be okay. You know who I'd be okay with if they bring her in at the last minute and win? I'd be all right if Paige won. I've been watching her stuff on NXT. She's been really impressing me.
Mm-hmm. Great way to make a new star too. People did not care very much for Emma though when Emma came out.
They've dropped the ball with Emma. She could do so much better in the ring, but they just kind of focus on that goofy dance that she does.
Mm-hmm. It did not catch on as well as they wanted it to. Big surprise.
What? You mean WWE completely missed the point of a character getting over? You lie, Peyton.
Samuel Shaw. We had our announcement for the final member and inductee of the 2014 Hall of Fame class, and it is Ramon. I think this is a great choice. Really solidifies this class as one of the best of all time, I think. I love the Razor Ramon character, and I love all the things that Scott Hall has done throughout his career, at least, until the dark days of Scott Hall's life. But he's currently cleaning himself up. He's doing a great job, and I think this is well-deserved. I just really think it's odd. They didn't mention anything about Scott Hall. They didn't show any NWO clips, really, or anything. It was just all focusing on Razor.
Looks bad.
Well, it's obvious. It's WWE. They don't acknowledge anybody. I mean, think back to when...
they're inducting Carlos Colon, who I'm pretty sure never even wrestled for WWE.
True, but he never worked for the competition.
Oh, this is true.
But
it's not competition. They own WCW now. WCW is theirs.
To the obvious person, yes, but this is Vince McMahon we're talking about. He doesn't drop grudges. He to them, they try to put him out of business, and he's not gonna. He didn't acknowledge anything from WCW when he bought it. What makes you think he's gonna do it now?
Oh, this is true. This is very true. Sean, what do you think about Razor Ramon going in the Hall of Fame?
Well, they're going to induct in next year's Scott Hall. That's all I'm saying.
You gonna get double inducted?
Yep, like Ric Flair. Ring on each finger.
And that'll be inducted again as a member of the NWO, and then again as the Outsiders, and then again as part of the Clique.
Oh, you forgot about the band.
Oh, the band. Well, WWE's got to buy TNA first, which is absolutely a certainty.
Excuse me, you're forgetting about Starship Coyote.
Wow.
Anybody's going to go in there, it's going to be Starship Coyote.
Yeah, okay.
There's only actually two people who I actually like in this year's Hall of Fame. And that's Lita and, what's his name? The dead dude. Can't think what his name is. Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer.
That's the one.
You're such a big fan, dude. Oh, the dead dude. That guy. I love that guy.
Yeah, the one that's Worm Chow.
And the thing is, I'm sure he didn't even mean like the dead dude just because he's dead. It's because he's, Paul Bearer. He's a Paul Bearer.
If you say so, Peyton.
But he is dead. So, Miguel, what do you think about Razor Ramon going in?
It's about time. I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't gone on sooner. I mean, when you think of names that are, connected to the history of wrestling, you think of the Outsiders, you think of Hollywood Hogan, you think of the NWO. I'm surprised he didn't go in much sooner into the Hall of Fame, but I guess given his affiliations with a certain other company at the time, that probably made it difficult. But it's great to see him in the Hall of Fame. It's great to see him clean. It's going to be nice to get him to do that induction. It's really going to be a big pop for WWE. I'm wondering, though, they're running out of names at this point. Like, they're going to have to start dipping into the late 90s at this point, because now that they've got Nash already in the Hall of Fame. He went in last year, right?
Did he? Nope. I don't think he did.
No, Nash has not gone in yet.
No, Nash
okay, so they got Nash then. All right. Well, I guess we know who's headlining next year's Hall of Fame.
Michael Hayes denied once again. It's funny. I've been watching a lot of those Legends roundtables, and every single time that Mean Gene or Jim Ross is going around introducing all the other people, and like every single other person's a Hall of Famer, they always get to Michael Hayes. Like, yep, maybe next year, Michael.
he's gonna go in with. Has he gone in with the Freebirds? Have the Freebirds been in?
No.
Oh, okay.
Everyone thought they were a lock for this year because they were in New Orleans, but nope.
Well, that's
you need to make sure it's a black guy that inducts him.
Yeah, that's what you get for calling Mark Henry the N-word.
Mark Henry should totally induct him.
Why? Oh, it's because Mark Henry's from Texas. He knows all about the world championship class wrestling stuff. Yeah, that's why. Anyway, Tony, what do you think about Razor Ramon going in?
I'm a fan of it. I like him. I've always been a fan of Razor Ramon and Scott Hall, but more so Razor Ramon. So,
what about Diamond Stud?
A little bit iffy on Diamond Stud, but Starship Coyote was pretty cool, right? I think that it's a good time to put him in as far as like the group of the people that we have, because he's not a headliner and he isn't necessarily one of the guys that you can throw as like, I don't want to say like the worthless person, because they can't be worthless if they're going into the Hall of Fame, but clearly the least valuable member of this Hall of Fame this year is Carlos Colon when it comes to like the value that the current fan base is going to have.
He's there for the legitimacy induction. Like, he's there to basically show, like, no, this isn't just a gimmick in my head. No, we're putting legitimate wrestling personalities. We got Carlos Colon and Antonio Inoki and Eddie Graham, I think, went into there as well. Like, yes, this is totally legitimate. Ignore the fact that we have Drew Carey and the Birdman, the guy with the
Coco Beware.
Yeah, Coco Beware. Ignore that. This is a legitimate Hall of Fame. Totally, guys.
Yeah, he's filling the Gordon Soley spot, which is okay. And you need sort of a balance of headliners and mid-carders and stuff in the Hall of Fame itself. And what better person to throw into that kind of spot than somebody who was a kind of staple in that sort of regard, Scott Hall. I don't know about his recovery, if this is like the best time to do it then, but as far as like him going into the Hall of Fame, he deserves it, and it's kind of cool. So hopefully Kevin Nash is the person that inducts him.
Steven? Oh, he BRB'd. What a jerk.
He hates it. We're just going to say that he hates it.
We're just going to sit here and wait for him.
If you guys are interested, though, a little plug for Smack Talk. This week's special feature is going to be a retrospective of all the Hall of Famers and who we think is going to be for next year. So maybe Marty Jannetty will come up.
Steve, what do you think about Razor Ramon going in?
Oh, I think it's all right.
I thought I just heard him whisper there. What the crap?
Hey, I just got back in. I was vomiting.
Okay.
Yeah, I accidentally typed BRB into the chat instead of the fucking Skype. But as far as Scott Hall goes in, definitely deserves it, though I would rather him go in with the NWO. They should sponsor this shit by DDP Yoga.
Sponsor it? Like the WWE Hall of Fame, brought to you by DDP Yoga.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's fucking 2 inductions for it, so.
When was the last time they had a sponsor for an event, honestly?
Oh man, I love watching the old ones from the '90s where they had karate fighters and Snickers and.
You know what else was awesome? That Goodyear blimp.
The blimps. I was just watching the Fully Loaded from '98, and they had the blimp, and it was never a Goodyear blimp. It was always like the 1-800-COLLECT blimp.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It was Goodyear.
No, it was never a Goodyear blimp. The Goodyear blimp's the real blimp.
Whatever it was, that was fucking awesome. Just seeing that floating around, and it's gotta suck for the people that are on top. And they're like, God damn it, every time there's a good move, this blimp just comes in the fucking way.
Blimp.
So, I paid $60 for my seat, and I'm all watching this goddamn blimp. And it's not even the good blimp.
It's a fucking karate fighter's blimp.
The blimp should go in the Hall of Fame.
They don't do that. They don't do that, and they don't do pay-per-view songs. There was a period where every pay-per-view had a headlining song, and they don't even do that anymore.
Well, they always do songs. You're talking about they're just all terrible.
We need a blimp for Mega Powers Radio flying over WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, we do. Get on that. We'll get the interns on that. Where's
Ramius?
Yeah, get Ramius on that.
Get Ramius on that. We had our final match of the evening was Shield members Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins going against the Real Americans. More payback for the Shield. Roman Reigns was standing on the outside, as was Zeb Coulter, of course. Seth Rollins tore the house down during this match. And I'm going to go ahead and say I'm convinced. I'm won over. Seth Rollins is awesome. I cannot deny it anymore. I know what his problem was. Seth Rollins was just a terrible heel. That's all it was. Seth Rollins was just an awful, awful heel. But now that he's a babyface, he's coming out of his shell, and he's awesome. He's doing a great job getting the crowd into his matches, keeping the energy high while they're getting their heat during the match. Fantastic role for him. So
you're saying Sean was right all along about Seth?
Maybe. I'm still saying he's homeless, though. I'm not going to stop that.
Before he was just homeless, smelly, and boring. Now he's homeless, smelly, and fun.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe I will give him directions to the nearest soup kitchen, while before I would have just ignored him.
Yeah, he's basically become the Skinny Balls Mahoney.
Yeah, to find the soup kitchen, you do a flip that way, then you run back the opposite way and do a flip that way.
Well, now he can tear the house down without worrying that he won't have a place to sleep.
To be fair, he probably makes great money.
He is the architect of the Shield, so he can handle that kind of stuff.
Fuck you guys.
That's too funny.
They finally started calling him the aerialist of the Shield, which is such a better nickname. I never understood architect of the Shield. What the hell does that even mean? Anyway, Seth Rollins gets the pin on the match, I believe. Antonio Cesaro continues the attack after the match, but he's not watching. Roman Reigns jumps him from behind with a Superman punch and a spear on the outside. The Shield gathers together a triple powerbomb Cesaro through the table. Always a pleasant sight seeing someone go through the table, especially at the hands of the Shield. Afterward, Kane and the New Age Outlaws in suits, who, now that they're all cleaned up and all this, I am dubbing them now the Old Age In-Laws. There you go. It's a new name for them. They come out to tell the Shield that they have signed a match between those guys, the 6 of them, at WrestleMania, and it is official. That is our Shield match for WrestleMania. Thank God they're not just in the 30-man Battle Royal, but still, I think they could have done better. There's potential. New Age Outlaws and Kane are certainly both professionals, and I think they'll be able to get a good match out of these guys, because the Shield, you never have to worry about them busting their ass and putting a good show on for people. So, that's what we have to look forward to. Steven, what do you think?
I'm all for it. Everything that, like, the new people are worried about the New Age Outlaws being in there with the Shield, but they can turn chicken shit into chicken salad, so I'm all for it. And Kane can still go, and looks like $1 million when he is wrestling now. So that guy got in mad shape after being kind of pudgy for a while. Mm-hmm. So I'm all for it. And whilst it seems kind of an out of the blue face turn, that's the only thing that I don't like. But if it means we get a few more months of the Shield, I'm all for it.
Wasn't it weird? They were playing that promo recapping what happened on SmackDown, and it was just showing the Shield like beaten up and vulnerable, lying on the ground, and it's like, what? I've never seen the Shield like this. It's just so awkward and weird.
Oh, didn't it seem almost like that? Like Cesaro was the biggest face in this match, though. The fans were all over him tonight. Yeah,
they definitely loved him. I mean, they loved everybody except for Swagger.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about Swagger. Can he just like get released or something?
Sean, what do you think about this match?
I thought the match was excellent. To be fair, my match of the night, my high point of the night. The only problem is Seth Rollins needs a new finisher.
You don't like the curb stomp?
No.
Oh, I think that's awesome. And the flying knee that he does off the top rope, that's a great move too.
I still think his finisher should be asking people for change and then they awkwardly leave the ring, just trying to avoid him.
So mean.
Yeah. Miguel?
Honestly, I got frustrated with Raw at this point. I was just kind of looking at my watch going, all right, this show needs to end soon. So I kind of tuned out that matchup. But I've seen the Shield wrestle everybody at least twice at this point, so I can't really say anything more except they put on great matches, you know. And in terms of the whole face turn, I think it was a situation where people just loved their work so much that it didn't matter whether they were heels or faces. So WWE just kind of embraced that. We're like, you know, we could probably get 6 more months out of these guys if we make them baby faces than just separating them like a lot of people thought was going to be the case. And, you know, the fans are taking to it. And I do kind of like they're going this route rather than going with the triple threat match that people thought was going to happen. I can see these guys continuing to be heels all the way up to SummerSlam. I mean, even if they play their cards right, maybe going towards the end of the year with this. In terms of the matchup, honestly, I feel like it just needs something a little bit more. Like, I feel like the 6-man needs to be like a ladder match or something, or a cage match. Like, just a regular 6-man matchup with the Shield just does nothing for me because we've seen it so much. Like, I feel like it's got to have some type of spice added to it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Steven, what about you?
I already talked about
well, then
Smash.
Fuck you, Tony.
WWE logic. Somebody turns babyface, then they can get their ass kicked. If they're a heel, they can't. Unless they're a total wuss of a heel, and then they can't win any match unless they cheat. That's why the Shield ends up looking weak. But I'm disappointed that they had nothing with teasing Cesaro and Swagger splitting up, because it doesn't seem like they're really being built towards anything at WrestleMania except for maybe a match with each other. And if next week is just going to rush that, then that kind of sucks. And if they're just going to be thrown into the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, then Cesaro doesn't get anything really to do.
Well, wait a minute. Aren't Swagger and Cesaro, don't they get a title shot? Aren't they in that title shot with Rybaxel?
They are?
Yeah, I think it's a triple threat. I think it's the Usos, the Real Americans, and Rybaxel.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that part. They might be. I don't know, because it does make sense if they were to do that, but even then, that's a little bit disappointing as well, because Cesaro seems like he's building up enough steam that they could make a singles match between the two of them matter for the pre-show or something, and I just don't want to see them get lost in the mix. But this match was pretty cool. It wasn't something I'm going to remember at the end of the year, but, you know, you need matches that just deliver on TV, and that's what this did. I thought it was kind of funny, though, with all the rumors on Scoops, that we're going to see Reigns separated from the Shield, and you're going to see Ambrose and Rollins as a heel tag team. What do we get tonight? We got Ambrose and Rollins as the tag team, and Reigns on the outside. So maybe they're testing something just the same way that they tested out Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton facing each other for a while before the SummerSlam thing. WWE does that a lot. So this could be just, let's see if these two work together instead of Reigns and Rollins, which we've seen, time and time again. WrestleMania, shame that they're getting just another 6-man tag match. Nothing has changed since last year.
Didn't Scoops also report that they were considering branching off Roman Reigns and then replacing him with Mason Ryan as a third member of the Shield?
God, I hope that
oh my
happen.
gosh, I forgot about that. That was terrible. Oh my goodness.
If that happens, well, could say goodbye to the Shield merchandise.
Yeah, can we just say goodbye to Mason Ryan?
He had a match in NXT last week, I'm pretty sure.
I know, I was amazed at that.
I thought he hasn't wrestled since, Access.
No.
I'm going to have to stand up for my fellow Welshman here.
Dude, don't do it, man.
Do we really need him now that Batista's back?
No.
Yeah, you still got Rob Terry.
Well, no, then they got this guy on NXT. I don't know if you've seen him. Fucking what? That was Mojo Rawley, this hype guy. He's like, I don't get hyped. I stay hyped.
At least Mojo Rawley has charisma. No, Mason Ryan has literally nothing. He is the WWE's Rob Terry.
He's got a look.
I don't know who that's more insulting to, Mason Ryan or Rob Terry.
I'd say it's more insulting to Rob Terry. He can do more than Mason Ryan.
All right, guys, let's move on to our last segment that we had on the show tonight. Paul Heyman comes out. He praises Undertaker's accomplishments, saying how amazing it is that someone was able to go 21-0 at WrestleMania. It'll never be done again. All the greats of all time have done some amazing things, but they'll never be able to say they went 21-0 at WrestleMania. Lesnar takes the mic saying, I'm not here to promote, I'm here to fight, so Taker, you get out here. The lights go out, we hear the 3 dongs, and we are greeted by druids. Yes, the Undertaker's druids make their return. They escort out a casket, leave it in front of the ring. Brock Lesnar chases them off, opens up the casket to find it empty, gets extremely frustrated, threatens to leave, goes to check on the casket once again, and this time, well, no, he doesn't even look at it. The casket just opens. This time it's not empty, though. The Undertaker's in there playing his old mind games, scaring the bejesus out of Brock Lesnar, sending him running away. Love Undertaker's mind games. I love you. People say these are just the typical Undertaker segments. You've seen him a million times. I could see him a million more, and I still love it. This is one of my favorite characters of all time in wrestling, and it's especially now that it's special and you don't get to see it all that often. I still enjoy it. So go around and get your guys' opinions about it, though. Wago.
As far as this segment goes, it was typical Undertaker segment. I wasn't too into it, and I think it was awkwardly long, and second, I've seen it a million times before. And sometimes I wonder if it's just I enjoyed it more as a kid, and now it's kind of like, eh. But I'm looking forward to the match more and more. Just the idea of it's growing on me. So, same old, Undertaker wins at Mania.
Sean?
I thought the segment was way, way too long. It was way too long-winded. And, yeah, it's the same old Undertaker shit. But, yeah, I'm actually not looking forward to this match at WrestleMania. This is going to be... If it can live up to the CM Punk and Undertaker match that was last year, then they win me over. But at the moment, not a fan. Not a fan.
Miguel?
You know what? If it had been a lesser opponent against the Undertaker, I probably would have written this off as just a regular mind games type thing. But Heyman played so well against the fans. He's so great at what he does, and he really carried a lot of that segment. That by the time the actual stare down happened between Lesnar and Undertaker, I was completely invested in it. I will say this, and maybe this was just because the cameraman just was messing up at his job. I noticed at one point the ring skirt ruffled a little bit when they had a shot of the casket. I was like, oh, there goes Undertaker crawling into the little box under the casket. So I was kind of pulled out of that, but overall, I dug it more than I thought I would.
And Tony?
I eat this shit up. Undertaker is my second favorite of all time, so this stuff's always awesome, but fuck was this awkward. And there were so many things that were awkward about this. I thought originally that the most awkward thing was going to be when Lesnar talked, because every time you give Lesnar the mic, he always cracks his voice. And he's like, I'm done talking, or whatever the fuck he had said. I can't remember. But we just had like one thing after another that was awkward in this. We had the cameraman go, hey, watch your foot. Watch your foot.
Watch your foot.
I noticed that too, yeah.
We had that like 2-minute section where clearly Lesnar knew that he was supposed to open up the casket when the song was over, but they took like the longer version of that song instead of what they really needed. Or maybe the Druids were supposed to eat up more time or something. I don't know what the case was, but it seemed like 5 straight minutes of Lesnar just waiting for the song to end and perpetually kicking the casket as like, oh, fuck, I can't just stand here for, 10 minutes. And that wasn't pulled off that well. They've done this so much better in the past, and I don't know whose fault this was tonight. Obviously, it's not Brock Lesnar's fault. He has no control over that. It's not Heyman's fault. It's not even the Undertaker's. It's somebody from the music department or the production planning or whatever that botched this whole thing.
It's Kevin Dunn's fault.
Sure, we'll blame him. Fuck him.
And his team.
As awkward as it was, though, it was, the Undertaker stuff's always cool. So you give me that, and like what you had said, Peyton, I'll watch it a million more times, and I'll still think it's cool. Every time that the gongs go off, I'm still going to get the chills, and, But when we were talking in the chat when this was going on, and the idea of a casket match came up, that made me just go, fuck, I really want to see a casket match. We haven't done in a while. And since they didn't announce that, I kind of got disappointed, which is my own fault because you shouldn't just assume things and then get mad that they don't do it. Mm-hmm. But damn it, I want a casket match. Something needs to happen with this feud. There's nothing going for it. It's just, Undertaker's getting challenged by Brock Lesnar, and he's whooping the shit out of Brock Lesnar. So they're not even making it seem like he's got a chance at losing. This is almost like they just said, yeah, we do this every year, and this year he's going to beat Lesnar. It's a shame.
All right, guys. Well, with that, we are going to wrap up our talk of running down Raw in what's up, Miguel?
I got one last thing. Did anybody notice that botch spot where Brock landed on his head on the casket?
Oh, yeah.
I was actually kind of worried because I'm like, oh, he just broke it. Like, that would have been the worst thing ever if he took that spot and, like, sprained something in his neck or something.
Well, Brock's never been good at going over the top rope. I remember the first match he had back with John Cena at Extreme Rules. He took a really nasty spill going over the top rope in that match. He's just such a big, awkwardly shaped man. Like, all of his weight's at the top.
I had shades of when Shawn took that botched spot on the casket and landed on his back. I was like, oh, that's not good.
See, this is all genius. They're building up that when he hits the tombstone, his head was already softened, and that's why it's going to matter that much. That's going to knock him out because he already hit the casket.
Oh, my goodness.
They're geniuses.
All right, well, we got one last thing to take care of, and that is the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, well, with this segment, we run down what we thought was the segment that was most good, most bad and most ugly throughout this evening's Raw. So we're going to start it off, Mr. Tony Mango. What's your good and bad and ugly for tonight's Raw?
Good. Dolph Ziggler's performance in a Fatal 4-Way. That was definitely his match, and it's a shame that he didn't win because he really stole that. The bad combination of Arnold Schwarzenegger's haircut and Hogan's botch of Joe Manganiello's name where he called him Magnioli, which is just like, I'm just going to mix all these letters around. And the ugly, that yellow stain on Luke Harper's shirt. Holy shit, that's disgusting. I guess since baby oil's been banned, he just took a bath in like fucking vegetable oil or something, but it's gross, and they really need to give him a different shirt.
Mr. Sean Walker, you're good, bad, and ugly.
The good, the Shield match. The bad, the Undertaker promo. The ugly, the entire thing with Hulk Hogan.
Mr. Miguel, good, bad, and ugly.
Good was Stephanie McMahon's leather pants. Bad was Batista's skinny jeans. And ugly would probably say the fact that everybody's music got cut off. That still kind of irritates me. When you got 3 hours and you don't even have enough time to give your wrestlers full entrances, that's just really a disservice to a lot of them. Even guys like Del Rio, and I know people hate him, but he deserves to at least have his music played fully, to get a decent entrance.
And Mr. Juego, you're good, bad, and ugly.
The good is the Shield match, the bad is the Hogan segment, and the ugly is Christian. Damn, he is ugly.
All right, and of course, for myself, I am going to say the good was the John Cena and Luke Harper match. I think these guys really impressed a lot of people, and it further excited me for this feud going forward. The bad, I'm going to say, is every gosh damn filler match we had throughout the show, which was pretty much every single other match. Oh my gosh, there's just so much of that tonight. And the ugly, I am going to go, especially singling out that dance-off that Goldust and Summer Rae had off. That was just unbearable. And Goldust deserves better. I'll even say Summer Rae deserves better. There you go, folks. The good, bad, and the ugly. One last thing we're going to do here. We only got about 7 minutes of show left, so we're going to go ahead and rush through this here. The plugs, where all of us here let you know about all the fantastic things we got going on in our world outside of the little bit of time we get to spend with you here on the Raw post-show. First off, let's take it over to Mr. Sean Walker. What's good in the world of Sean?
Lots of things. If you'd like to hear my voice and my accent and want to hear more of me raging and shouting and swearing, then why not watch my YouTube channel? It's youtube.com/Shaughnessy1989. Follow me on the Twitter at Shaughnessy2K37 because 1989 was taken by some bird who's quite attractive. So look her up. and yeah, stay tuned to Mega Powers Radio.
It's the greatest plug ever.
Well, we know who Sean wants to plug.
Miguel?
If you like listening to a bunch of guys talk about nothing but...
We know who Miguel wants to plug.
Yeah, I'm trying to describe my show, guys. If you want to listen to a bunch of guys talk about old movies and topics within the film industry, check out my show, The Untitled Movie Show, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on the Retro Unlimited channel on blogtalkradio.com. We're going to be talking about 90s animation, film, TV, things like that. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I guess it kind of sort of fits within the theme of the show, so that's something we're really going to get into. And if you, like I said, I always throw out the invitation to you guys. If you guys want to be a part of it, you're more than welcome to. I just got to set up the show for tomorrow night, but it's definitely on.
Tremendous. Sorry, you had something else?
No, I was going to say, so yeah, check that out, blogtalkradio.com/RU-network. That's the Retro Unlim channel, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock.
Beautiful. Mr. Stephen Juego, what's good in Juego's world?
All right. We just had the latest episode of Addicted to Anime, and we had a lot of fun reviewing Golf in Lead. That's going to be up very soon for On Demand, and you can check pretty much any updates for Addicted to Anime over on facebook.com/addictedanimefans. And next month, and I'll have a date confirmed for you sometime in the near future, we're going to be reviewing Pokemon, and we're going to have a bigger cast than normal, and we're going to pretty much touch on the anime, video games, a bit of everything. It's probably the most popular anime of all time, or at least popular Japanese type show that's got popular, and America. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and you can check me out at Steve Wago, and that's about it.
I think Dragon Ball Z would have an argument with that, sir.
No, Pokemon Soulful.
Mr. Tony Mango.
SmarkoutMoment.com is my wrestling website. The podcast for Smack Talk on that website is youtube.com/SmarkoutMoment. You can also find that on iTunes and Stitcher. And you can find out what I'm saying for wrestling stuff outside of that on the Bleacher Report, and follow everything with a mango tree and all that by going to facebook.com/TonyMango or facebook.com/amangotree.
All right, everyone. We appreciate y'all tuning in to the Raw Post Show here at Mega Powers Radio. Please do so every single Monday. Following the conclusion of Raw, we'll always have things rolling here on Mega Powers Radio and inviting y'all to join the conversation. And you can continue the conversation between shows by joining our official Facebook fan group. It's facebook.com/groups/the Mega Maniacs. That's facebook.com/groups/the Mega Maniacs. Always conversation going on down there. Right now, we are voting through keepingkayfabe.com for the greatest tag team of all time. It's March Madness once again, 64-slot tournament, whittled down single elimination style, as I said, to determine the greatest tag team of all time. And keep supporting everything else we got going on here at the station, folks. Big things popping, little things stopping. Listen to the ad I'm going to be playing after the outro tune here. But until next week, folks, please support everything, as I said. For everyone else here on the show, I'm Mike Payton, for Tony Mango, for Sean Walker, for Miguel Leon, and for Steven Huego. Have a good night. See y'all next week.
Because I rip our pants!
Hey, Dace Tattoo Nation, it is I, Chris, the Dace Man Dace, host of the Dace Man Show, checking in with you guys to let you know of a new podcast debuting April 13th called For Real Movie Club here on Mega Powers Radio. Join me for the month of April as I moderate a panel of 4 movie buffs as we discuss Mel Brooks films. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that's April 13th. Tune your radios to Mega Powers Radio, and ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.